Hey there, broskies. Today I decided to go ahead and just take a look at the album of the moment, The Life of a Showgirl, and just look at some of the lyricism with a more critical eye, because I listened to some of the music and I was like, this just isn't landing. And I don't know about any of you out there, but I personally, like, if I don't grasp why I don't like something, I get a little frustrated. So I just sat down and took some time to evaluate the first song on the album, and I finally understand, hey, this is why I don't really vibe with it. I think the key issue with this song is that it needs to pick its vibe. And you're probably thinking to yourself, oh my god, Mar, what are you talking about? The song is like so consistent. It's the same beat over and over. No, it needs to pick its vibe lyrically. So The Fate of Ophelia uses the character of Ophelia from Shakespeare's Hamlet as a sort of plot device to kind of communicate this idea of like despair and madness, because her whole thing is that, like, by virtue of being associated with this group of people in Hamlet and being with Hamlet, she goes a little crazy and then honestly, the first lyric that kind of gave me the ugh was, I pledge allegiance to your hands, your team, your vibe. We're talking about a Shakespearean tragedy. You're evoking the name of a character who ultimately is associated with doom, gloom, and madness. You're evoking patriotism. You're evoking football. You're evoking lingo from 2025? No, it's not cohesive. That single line is like everything wrong with this song to me. And then even when the song leverages more imagery aligned with the idea of fantasy or like Shakespeare, for example, I sat alone in my tower, you were honing your powers, that just feels juvenile. It feels really, really juvenile to me, because I think that I sat alone in my tower while you were honing your powers. I know what it's trying to do. It's trying to evoke the idea of Shakespeare, Ophelia, fantasy, drama. But it's giving kids cartoon. Honing your powers. What are you, a wizard? And like, I think this is supposed to be a metaphor for, but like, let's be real. I'm imagining a wizard, like, bent over a scroll, honing his little powers, casting a spell with a stick. There are some lines in there where I'm like, okay, credit where credit's due. You dug me out of my grave and saved my heart from the fate of Ophelia. That's a nice line. That's a nice line. That's poetic. I don't see anything wrong with it. It is a good line. It's a little diamond in the rough. I personally think that don't care where you've been, because now you're mine. That line feels like a jab at his ex-girlfriends. And I'm not going to get into it. Love was a cold bed full of scorpions. The venom stole her sanity. I see what she was trying to do. Don't get me wrong, okay? I just think that if we're going to make a metaphor about intimacy, you know, if we approach it from that angle and we're going to involve venom, why not potentially use, I don't know, a snake? Why not play with the idea of suffocation, venom, anti-venom, bites, betrayal, unpredictability, a cold bed full of scorpions? It just feels so bouncy on the mouth, I guess. A cold bed full of scorpions. That just makes me ask, why did you get in bed with scorpions? There's this thing when you're writing where, like, yeah, you're trying to communicate something, but you need to think about the immediate interpretation of the person consuming what you're doing. Like, have you ever seen that JB Jingle Bells ad? Like, that works with the idea of assumption really, really good. It's so easy and fast. At the same time, if you just don't execute it correctly, people will be confused. Or they might get hung up on the wrong thing. And in this instance, I got hung up on that. A cold bed full of scorpions. It's giving Dementia Darkness Ravenclaw, if you know what I mean. I know what she was trying to do. Because the whole thing about Ophelia is that she is surrounded by people who are draining her sanity. So the scorpions in this situation are a means to an end to communicate the idea that she has been exposed to something for so long that it has drained her of her normalcy. I still think the line is goofy. Okay, another little gem I can't take away from her. If you had never come for me, I might have lingered in purgatory. I'll give it to her. That's a nice, succinct little way of communicating, like, oh, I don't know where I'd be without you, in a new way that is different. Overall, I wish that, like, overall, I have to say that, like, as much as I want to be like, oh, I see what she was doing, what you were trying to do versus the way it lands with an audience, it's important to recognize, like, hey, okay, she was going for this specific thing that she was trying to express, and I'm sorry it didn't really land the way that she hoped it would. I don't think it is that good. It just doesn't feel very cohesive to me, and I'm not really going to pretend otherwise. I just think it is important to discuss the lyrics in songs. I think it's important to acknowledge when something is done really well and when something is done in a way that could be better. There are so many talented lyricists out there who are creating interesting and evocative music. And I really wish that more of that were being, like, pushed on my radar compared to music of this caliber. Let me go ahead and see if I can actually find a song that's a little bit like that. So for the sake of, like, a comparison that helps to, like, express what I'm trying to say, I'm going to walk you through a different song that kind of plays with this idea of, like, meeting someone and feeling, like, saved. So the song I'm listening to right now is by Jukebox the Ghost, called Girl. And I'm listening to it right now, and I think that part of why I also don't really resonate with the other song that we just reviewed is because it didn't really take me on a journey. But immediately, this one is taking me on a journey, right? And as time goes on, I can feel my heart growing colder and colder, but then I see your face in the crowd, and I think, I'm gonna be starting over. And when you meet someone new, it all just takes over you. Like, oh, and his vocals are so good. Like, let me just sing this little thing, okay? So that way you can grasp where I'm coming from. Like, the journey element. So you say you've never been in love, that you don't even know what that means. You thought you did, but now that it's over, you think can't even be half of the real thing. And as time goes on, I can feel my heart growing colder and colder. Then I see your face in the crowd, and I think, how can it be starting over? Because when you meet someone new, it all just takes over you, and you think that you never really tried. Open your heart, open your mind. That came out more as, like, a little slam poetry thing. But do you understand what I mean? This idea of, like, taking them through a journey of, like experiencing, like, oh, this sense of, like, I'm never gonna be in love again, and then this and that and that. Like, I feel like the other song is more reflective, and this song is more like a journey, and that really, like, helps lend a certain amount of, like, oomph to the whole thing. And, like, I feel like this is a really good song to compare with The Fate of Ophelia because it's two different things, right? You've got Taylor Swift singing about how, like, Travis Kelce saved her from the fate of Ophelia, and you've got this guy who's like, oh my gosh, like, this girl is taking me back to a time when I loved and I meant it. Like, those two things, they're similar. They're in different zones, but, like, the songs are executing a very similar experience of, like, meeting someone and then feeling, like, different or renewed or saved. I really encourage you guys to listen to Girl by Jukebox the Ghost. I encourage listening to Jukebox the Ghost regardless. Like, they're good. I love them. And, like, he even sings about, like, oh, you're gonna save me. Girl, you're gonna save me. Give me a chance. It's worth taking. Anyway, just listen to The Fate of Ophelia and then listen to Girl by Jukebox the Ghost and then come back and give me your thoughts, because, like, do you see what I'm trying to express here? This idea of, like, range, journey, like, walking you through a narrative versus, like, reflecting on a specific thing. Your lyrics do not have to be sophisticated, but they do have to evoke an experience for the listener. Anyway, that's all for today. Bye!